Have you ever seen a Nunu glide through walls? What about a Warwick latching on for a ride into the enemy's base? In today's video, we'll be covering 50 bugs that have never been fixed in League of Legends. But before we get into it, be sure to check out Skill Capped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. Turns out Mundo can quite literally go where he pleases, as Mordekaiser ult bugs out, allowing Mundo to run right through the tri-bush and back into lane. Your guess is as good as ours as to how this bug actually occurs. The Warwick bug was supposedly fixed at one point, but to no one's surprise, it's made its way back into the game. Warwick Q allows you to follow enemies with blinks or dashes, but it should not allow you to follow the enemy into their base as seen in this clip. The Nunu bug is extremely repeatable when using the replay mode. Whenever Nunu uses W, he will glitch out, ignore all terrain, and go right through it. This bug is super annoying whenever we have to record any Nunu gameplay. You'd think by Season 12, Yasuo Windwall bugs would be a thing of the past, but then you have a Nami ult casually passing right through it. Towers are supposed to act as terrain that you can latch onto with abilities like Camille's E, but Riot's Spaghetti Code has something else to say about it. Riven has a pretty game-changing bug where her Q will go backwards even when your cursor is positioned in front of you. This can be a mega tilter when chasing down a kill and can lead to a massive amount of missing pings spammed by your teammates. Turns out Illaoi's E can actually become untargetable, which would be extremely tilting, especially in a 1v1 situation like this. Zeri has a bug going around with her W where it won't register as going through terrain and therefore will not provide the laser like it should. This Yuumi bug is actually the first useful one of the video, as it allows you to use your first E without it costing any mana. The caveat though is that you have to use E as soon as you level up for the spell for the bug to work, so it's not entirely practical for all games. Here's another bug that actually helps your team, as Renata Glass passive is on Jinx, and when she dies, the kill is registered as Jinx killing Jinx. So in other words, Jinx kills herself, which provides her with free gold. Yone has a bug going around with his ultimate where the enemy can flash even though they're airborne and being CC'd by Yone. We have another bug for Warwick, and although not as crazy as the first, it's still pretty insane as Warwick Q heals him for an absurd amount of health when it definitely should not. Azir has had his fair share of bugs throughout the years, and one plaguing him right now is when he uses R just before he dies, R will not deal damage or knock up enemies. This Qiyana bug is pretty game-breaking as it allows her to deal extra damage. You need to be running first strike, and if you use W immediately after throwing Q, you will deal more damage than what's intended. I would probably AFK if this Aphelios bug occurred when hitting the enemy nexus. As you can see, he's dealing no damage at all when auto-attacking. This Gnar bug has been in the game for ages now, as his Q will just abandon him and fly away in a random direction. Gotta love it when you're playing Fiora and vitals just stop spawning on the enemy when you're trying to duel them. One of the unique aspects of Rek'Sai is the fact she can gank from so many different angles, so when her E doesn't actually work, then what's the point of playing her? This Kai'Sa bug is likely due to the Star Guardian skin, as her passive continues to show max stacks even though auto attacks are being continuously used on Kled. Bard's W is only supposed to heal either himself or an ally, but with this bug, he's able to defy that rule, placing a W on the ground while healing himself at the same time. Your very first Quinn ult of the game will deal double damage to minions as seen from the boss playing Quinn in the background gameplay. Senna is supposed to proc 2 stacks of Black Cleaver passive per auto attack, but this is currently not the case as she only procs 1. Riot August has even said on one of his live streams that this is a bug he needs to look into. This Evelynn bug causes her to freeze in place for a split second before appearing right next to the enemy. Likely has something to do with the enemy dashing away as Evelynn uses her E. When Zed uses W and then Q immediately after, one Q is supposed to spawn from his W and one from his character, but in this clip, both Qs spawn from his W shadow. Turns out Maokai Q can bug out and be used as a hook instead of a knockback effect. You gotta love it when you randomly level up and gain a ton of health back as you're trying to escape after tower diving the enemy. You have to look closely for this one, but Kalista's first auto attack on Ornn applies her E damage without actually using the spell. Kalista E does not go on cooldown, but you can see the rend particle effect go off and it deals extra damage. I'm sure many of you have seen this one before as Heimer's turret can glitch out and continue to shoot at the enemy across the map, but it doesn't actually deal any damage. Placing Yorick's W down as soon as Sion is ulting over it will cause Sion to turn in the opposite direction. Sometimes Diana's passive won't actually proc on the third auto attack, and you'll have to auto a fourth time to receive the bonus damage. Viktor's ultimate often bugs out and just stops moving completely. A strange interaction here between Zac and Mordekaiser, where when Zac uses his E as Mord ults him, Zac flies outside the range of Mord ult, but he cannot move. Zac is just stuck there helplessly as Mordekaiser runs up to finish off the kill. Varus ultimate should provide you with vision if you hit the enemy while they're in a bush, but as seen in this clip, it's not working as intended. This next one with Zoe is supposedly not a bug, however it definitely looks like one, so we wanted to include it. When you throw Zoe bubble a fraction of a second before your ult brings you back to your original location, the bubble will shoot out when you land and travel the distance it would have before you snap back. Hopefully that makes sense, but if not, you should be able to see what we're saying based off the clip we're showing. Akshan's E is clearly used on terrain here, but instead of latching on, it travels right through, preventing him from chasing down a kill. This bug is probably the least controversial in the entire video, but it makes you wonder what's going on with Riot's coding. As Viego kills Echo using the Sandstorm skin, he then picks up his passive and transforms into Echo with the true damage skin. Here, we have Jhin Q flying way up in the air, performing a disappearing act, and then landing once again to help clear the wave. If Taliyah W is used a split second before E, sometimes her W will decide to not go off and lead to you missing out on an easy kill. There's a weird bug going around when running Hexflash, where even though your flash is showing it's off cooldown, you're not actually able to press it. You then have to play out the rest of the game without ever being able to flash. Not entirely sure if this one is a bug or just a crazy interaction, but Camille's ult animation goes off in the brush, but Shaco uses Q at the same time, and Camille's ult is then teleported to where Shaco landed. If LeBlanc uses Hexflash right before W, then she can Q mid-air, applying her Q passive, which her W can then proc. I'm sure you guys have seen this one many times before by watching our videos, but there's a bug in the replay mode where the base of towers are see-through after they've been destroyed. This bug doesn't affect gameplay at all and is actually pretty cool, as Samira can stall out in the air posing with flashy particles going off. This one is very easy to reproduce, so go into practice tool and try it out. You want to auto attack in melee range, use the taunt command right after, and then auto again. You can also get some different effects when performing this with crit. We got another Warwick bug as his W will not grant the bonus attack speed on the first attack after using W. Viktor's evolutions will sometimes glitch out and not allow you to click them to upgrade. Rel's E is supposed to be put on a 1 second cooldown after she self-targets, but it can bug and be placed on the full cooldown instead. Mordekaiser has Elder buff, is hitting Qiyana and brings her low enough to where the Elder execute should go off, but it does not proc until Qiyana is released from Mord ult. Zac E has a bug where you try to buffer the spell right before it comes off cooldown, and it just does nothing and goes back on cooldown. Probably one of the most tilting bugs that's actually quite game-changing. This one may or may not be an actual bug, but you're able to auto-attack during Gwen's Q animation. This only works when you use E before Q though. It may be an interaction that's intended by Riot as it's being used by many players, so definitely look to try it out if you're a Gwen main. And the final bug we have is one for Akali, where W will give 1 less energy than it's supposed to. So there are 50 different bugs in League of Legends that from our knowledge have yet to be fixed. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about skill caps. So we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into Elo Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. Let us know down in the comments if there are any other bugs going around right now that we may have missed. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.